Hello again. I have Selena and Abby and Kelly here for this next lesson. So we had to take a little break from the last lesson, but you can see that we're still here the same day. What we did is we took this little glass jar of soil and this same kind of glass of water, and we put them in the warm window. You can't see outside from where we are, the windows are right over here. It is a beautiful, warm, sunny day. In fact, Kelly was also sleeping in the window, and when she does that, she gets all warm and soft and squishy, and we call her a butterball because when we pick her up, she like kind of melts. And it's almost like her muscles are too soft to do any work. Anyway, sorry, that's off topic, but it's important because these were sitting in the window just like the cat. Well, when we set them there, they started out with just being room temperature, the same temperature as the rest of the house. We set them in the window right outside, right alongside of our slider door where the cat likes to sit. And I've just brought them over to the table. So I want Selena, I want you to stick your finger in that soil a little bit and tell me what you feel.
It's warm.
It is warm. Okay. Do you want to, well, we're going to have her check it right now because, you know, she tested this one. We'll have you test the next one. Or you could test it now. Here, tell me what you think about the water.
Warm.
It's warm? Is that warm too?
Yeah.
It's warm? Okay, feel that one, Abby.
That's also very warm.
Very warm. So gosh, that's, you know, kind of like when we have our sandbox outside or we have the little kiddie pool with a little bit of water in it. It's warming up. It's getting warm. Now we're going to just let these sit and check them again in just another minute. If we were doing this lesson in the classroom, we could do it like this where we set them in the window. We could also set the dishes on a hot plate and warm them up. And then check to see how warm they are or how warm it is in a little while. So I'm going to set these just to the side and I want to introduce, oh, actually, we're gonna wait just another minute because I don't wanna do the chart, so I'll let you in on the secret. So do you wanna tell me something about the wind? What's your favorite thing to do when it's windy?
Stay inside.
Oh, she likes to stay inside. It's pretty windy today. What do you like to do with the wind?
I want to fly kites, but we have to dig them out.
Yes, our kites are still put away for the winter. We do like flying kites. We have some of just the standard one string kind, but we also have one of those fancy racing kites that has the two handles that you steer like this. Like you pull this way to turn this way and you pull this way and it does tricks. Do you like playing with the kites? Yeah. What else do we know about the wind? Could be any sort of odd fact about the wind.
It's usually cold.
The wind is usually cold? Like it feels cold on your skin? Okay. Do you have something to add? I know.
It's wind.
It's wind. Okay. So I think maybe we've waited long enough. Selena, do you want to give that a little feel and feel what you think?
It feels cooler now.
It's cooler now? It's not as warm as it was? How about for you? Do you think that's cooler than it was? How about the water? Does the water feel warm like it was, or does it feel cooler now? Oh, I took you right out of the screen. Feel it up.
My hands are still up.
Does it still feel warm?
Yeah.
Yeah, it still feels warm. Selena doesn't want to make mud with her soil and water, so she's not going to touch it. Anyway, the soil, as it has sat here out of the sun, it has cooled off quite a bit. It's not as warm, even though this is pretty good black soil out of our garden. But the water has stayed warm. Okay, now I can show you the chart without ruining the suspense of the story here. Okay, so if you're in a place like the seacoast along the ocean or along a large lake, and you have air over water and air over land, something really cool happens. So the water and the land are getting warmed by the sun. The sun is out and the sun is warming it. But the land, so they're both getting warm, but the land heats up faster. The land absorbs the heat and starts to radiate it much faster than the water does. And so the land heats up, the air above the land gets warm, and so the air above the land rises. And as we know, when warm air rises, cold air rushes in and takes its place. So what happens in climates or places that have a lot of heat, water and land, the land, the air over the land rises, we get a high pressure, and then this cold sea air comes in. And this is called a sea breeze. So if you've been somewhere like, I just keep thinking of Florida. When we were in Florida a couple of years ago, we were there in the summertime, and it doesn't matter what time of year you're there, but this happens, and if you notice this, it happens a lot, that in the afternoon, right, like 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon,
It rains.
it rains. It rains. There's thunderstorms and there's wind. That's because about that time of day, the land is warmed up to that certain point, to that hottest part of the day, right? On our table of the hottest part of the day, just in the afternoon, the heat from the land is causing the air to rise. And so that moist, wet air from the ocean rushes in. And as that happens, as this cold, wet air or cooler, wet air comes in and hits that hot air that's there, you get thunderstorms, lightning. You have to take cover. They close all the good rides and everything shuts down for like a half an hour. And then the rain goes away, it clears up, and you go about your business, right? That's just what happens. It's just what happens. Anyway, that's called a sea breeze. During the day, when the land gets hot and the air above the land starts to rise quicker than the air above the water, we get a sea breeze. The air above the land rises, the sea breeze rushes in. That's called a sea breeze. Now I want to talk to you about what happened when we came in and our water, or not when we came in, but just here at the end, when we felt that our soil cooled off quite a bit, but our water was still warm. It's still warm right now. I can feel it in the glass. So I want to talk about that, because we just talked about what happens when they're both being warmed. But now that they're not being warmed, think about the sun has set, the air is cooling off, the land is giving off its heat that it has absorbed, but so is the water. The heat from the land, the land loses its heat much faster than the water. If you've ever been swimming after dusk or in the evening, the water feels really warm. The water's not any warmer really than it was earlier in the day, but because the air is getting colder, the water feels warmer. And so what happens is that the air above the land starts to cool, but the air above the water is still warm because the water is holding that heat. So the water is giving off heat. So the water or the air is rising from the sea, and the cold air from land rushes this direction to replace it. So at night, this is what the wind is doing. The wind is rushing from the land to the sea, and the water or the air is rising from the ocean. And this is called a land breeze. How did it get its name?
Because the air from the land rushes over the sea.
The air from the land is rushing over the sea. And you can see there's a moon up here to show you it's nighttime. It's nighttime. So during the day, even though everywhere is getting hot because the sun is shining, the land heats up faster. But at night, the water stays warm longer. And so we get an opposite effect. During the day, we get a sea breeze. We get water or air, wind coming off of the ocean, making her dizzy like a cat. It's like a laser pointer over here. And at night, it's the opposite problem. The water stays warm, and so the air comes in off of the land and creates a land breeze. This happens in areas that are more tropical than where we live. You'll really notice this when you get mid-California to Southern California, all the way down through Central America. On the other side of the country, you'll see this like from the Carolinas south, Mexico south. Hawaii is a place where you get daily rain, or in some parts of it you get daily rain right there in the afternoon. Same thing. The land heats up, creates low pressure. The cold winds come in off the sea. The cold winds, they're not necessarily cold, but they're sea breezes. They come in, take the place, and they cause rainstorms and thunderstorms. So that's pretty cool. I hope that you enjoyed your little bit of meteorology that I gave you today. I will admit that back when I was in college and I was studying to be a geologist, when we would do our weather and atmospheric studies, I loved it. And whenever I could, I would watch the 24-hour weather channel and just watch and listen to the people and like see the maps of low and high pressure. And I'd be like, oh, they're in for a storm tonight. It was so exciting. I know I'm very cool. That is what all 21, 22-year-olds should be doing, is watching the 24-hour weather channel predicting storms. But maybe not everyone did that, but that was what I did. So I hope you enjoyed land breezes and sea breezes. If you would like to recreate the experiment that we did, you just need a container with water and a container with sand or soil. And if you have a thermometer, you can use your hand like we did, but you can use the thermometer too to check the temperatures. You just put them out at the same time. Make sure they're like room temperature so you can measure the same change of the same thing. You can set them in a windowsill. If it's a windy day like today, you want it on the inside so it's absorbing the heat and not getting blown away with the cold, with the wind. And then let them warm up in the windowsill and then bring them in, check them, and then let them sit for, you can just, what we do, like 5 minutes maybe, let them sit and you'll feel that cool off. Also, you know, you could also, yeah, the cat, the butterball cat went back to the window. You can also think about this if you set up your little kiddie pool, your little plastic pool in the backyard. You can go and put your feet in it and it feels really cold. A little bit later this afternoon, it'll feel warmer. And then if you leave the water in it and then check it again about, you know, 8 or so, once the sun has started to go down, you'll feel that it feels warm still, even though the sun's rays aren't on it. So I hope you enjoyed surface winds and land, sea breezes and land breezes. That's what I was trying to say. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.